South Jamaica, baby, they made me to be the greatest. Serving the deed of my creators, fresh off of my high haters. It's the king again, Magdalene, chauffeured, bragging and boasting.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Dollars. It's another day, another dollar video. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be reacting to Inside the Life of an Albanian Mafia member. This is Friday. I do random reactions every Friday. I've been wanting to react to this one for a minute because I've been seeing it on my recommended and I had it saved. And it's like, you know, when the hell I'm going to do it? But now that I have a upload schedule that I want to stick to, you know, I can finally do this video. So let's hop right into this.
Common wisdom in New York City and the streets of London tells you one thing. Don't fuck with the
mobs.
Oh. Points in my life where I had real people trying to kill me. And I'm talking about real people. I'm talking about Albanian gangsters with murder charges.
Damn. I've seen them in Gangs of London, Taken, and even in Grand
Gangs of London? That's a show?
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
My son Nico was really ready, though. He wanted all the smoke with the Albanians.
And what's it like being a member? Stay tuned as we take a look inside the life of an Albanian Mafia member. You'd think that the Albanian Mafia operates differently than Cosa Nostra or the Sicilian Mafia, but you'd be wrong. The Albanian Mafia has evolved over the last 80 years.
I heard they took over
It
Europe, too.
doesn't consist of ethnic Albanians. From what we know about their activities, the entire Mafia is made up of families, ranging from Albanians to Serbians to Macedonians and even Greeks. They have clans spread across the world, including Australia, Europe, the United Kingdom, and, more famously, the United States.
So you ain't gotta be Albanian to be a part of them.
Even the ones in New York City.
That's a difference from the Italian mob. You gotta be blood.
To the FBI. They're just too secretive and operate with surprising criminal savvy. Just like the Sicilian Mafia, the Albanian crime families rely deeply on honor, trust, and loyalty. They have their own internal laws, which make all other official laws secondary or even useless.
They don't go by our rules.
There's a term called besa, which literally means faith or oath in Albanian culture. If one person gives another their besa, it means that they verbally bonded themselves with trust. As we mentioned before, the Albanian
I was thinking of some John Wick shit. He took a blood oath, though.
Albanians. There's no one unified governing body that tells each family what business to do and how to do it. The Rodaj organization, for example, consists of mostly Albanian Americans and even some Italian Americans. The families in Germany consist of Albanian immigrants from Albania, North Macedonia, and Kosovo. There's no one Albanian Mafia. It's a collection of families
different
with connections
groups
to Albania and the Balkans. There have been Albanian crime organizations that have been apprehended in polycriminal activities, human trafficking, drugs, prostitution, racketeering, and more. But what does a typical life in the Albanian crime world look like? Let's take a look. Jevdet Lika, better known as Joey Lika, was considered the king of the world of drugs in New York, moving $100 million worth of Turkish dope at one time. And Hoffman, the contract killer, Lika was described as being a frightening member of international crime. He had his mobsters trained and ready to make assassinations against John Gotti, Paul Castellano, or even President Reagan if he wanted to. He was well known for his dislike of Italians, and they were afraid of him because of his violent nature. Lika used to work alone until 1980. He then joined Jevdet Mustafa, who was one of 4 Albanian exiles who wanted to assassinate Enver Hoxha, an Albanian communist politician. Mustafa ended up failing his mission and shot himself in the head in 1982, so Lika moved on. He continued trafficking heroin into the United States, and the Mafia couldn't do much to stop him, until 1985, when he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. At the time of his sentencing,
that's one thing.
Lika,
no matter how big you think a crook is, the government is always bigger, bro. They the biggest gang members. They're the biggest gangsters. Like, okay, you think you're going to have your little empire, you're going to be trafficking, you think you're going to operate with immunity. And then once them cuffs come on, you get the reality like, nah.
Transported over $125 million worth of drugs from the Balkans, Yugoslavia, and Turkey, and pumped it into New York, California, Texas, and Illinois. At his trial, Lika was joined by his Albanian relatives. And it's even reported that Rudy Giuliani, who was overseeing the trial, was sent death threats by Leica's father. To try and make the charges go away, Leica issued a $400,000 contract to Giuliani's prosecutors.
400 bands?
In a statement later on, Giuliani noted that it was the first time in his life that his life was threatened by a defendant. When you're considered a rival of the Lucchesi and Gambino crime families, you know you're not to be messed with. Alex Rodage began his career in crime as an associate of the Gambino family. He's not the only Albanian who's done this, though, considering that plenty of Albanians have adopted to other crime families in the past. By the 1990s, Rodage began collaborating with others to form a group, including Albanians and other Cosa Nostra members. The group started out with illegal gambling in Morris Park in Westchester County. Of course, Rodage was successful, and then he wanted more. In June 2001, he and 6 of his men entered Soccer Fever, a Greek social club that was actually a gambling racket run by 2 Greek associates of the Lucchesi family.
Told him to get down and lay down.
They were armed and beat one of the 2 guys on the head with a pistol, scaring the others away. By 2005, Arnold Squitieri, a Gambino family underboss, had had enough. He decided to have a sit-down with the Rodage Corporation at a gas station in New Jersey and arrived there with 20 armed Gambino men, while Rodage arrived with 6. According to the legendary undercover FBI agent Joaquin Garcia, Squitieri told the Albanian mobster, "You took what you took and that's it, or there's going to be a problem." The Gambinos outnumbered the Rodage Corporation 20-6. And Alex's solution? Blow up a gas tank if a gunfight happens. But none of them had to die that day. A year later, all the main players involved in the sit-down were in prison. As far as we know, Dobroshi is currently living in Kosovo, and his wife and 2 children live in Prague,
so he escaped?
Far away from him.
Wow.
But the Kosovo Albanian crime boss was in the 1990s one of the most powerful heroin.
I guess in Kosovo, they don't have extradition laws, so you could get away. Like, if you do a crime, if you go to that country, I don't think they can send you back.
And arms smugglers in Europe.
I'm just guessing, though.
He was so prolific, in fact, that by 1993, he was captured in Norway. And in 1994, he began his 14-year sentence in Ulesmos prison for trafficking heroin in Norway, as well as Sweden and Denmark. But he couldn't be kept behind bars for too long. He and his associates pulled off a well-coordinated operation in 1997, and he managed to escape from Ulesmos. He chose the Czech Republic as his new place of residence, and instead of living a quiet life, he quickly dominated the Albanian drug mafia there. A mere 2 years later, on February 23, 1999, he was arrested yet again in Prague and sent to a Czech prison. Sometime later, he heard rumors that there was a plan to assassinate him in his prison cell. But before that could happen, Dobroshi successfully extradited himself to Norway to complete the rest of his sentence.
Damn.
According to Bosnian authorities, Nasser Kalmendi was the head of a huge criminal empire. He was known as possibly the biggest drug lord in the Balkans, but he had a violent streak ever since his teenage years. In 1976, when Kalmendi was 19 years old, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison for attempted murder in his hometown of Pek in Serbia. By the 1980s, he was free and smuggling gold and textiles into Kosovo from Turkey. In the 1990s, while the former Yugoslavia was under international sanctions, Kalmendi smuggled oil, tobacco, and drugs. From there, he slowly built his criminal empire. Kalmendi owned many businesses while he was active in the 1990s and early 2000s, including a cigarette factory and several hotels. The Balkan crime boss at one point was so powerful that Interpol stated that his organization had influence in Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, Croatia, Serbia, Germany, and the United States.
All right, yeah, that was the video. I thought they was actually going to have somebody that was in the Albanian Mafia today and him actually breaking down what's it like. So this video was a little bit clickbaity. I mean, it's good to get the little backstory on them and stuff like that, but I was assuming it was going to be different. Like, I really wanted to hear from somebody that's actually in the mob right now, giving you his day-to-day, what's life like. That would have been a much better video to react to, but it is what it is, man. If there's any video like that you would like me to check out, just let me know. If you enjoyed this reaction, Feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, and I'm off.
For my time goes by, they gon' raise a nigga jersey in the sky. Treat a nigga right, big dreaming on my life. Shorty wanna get some air, I go and get her when I fly. Taking off on these niggas I retire. The minute I catch fire, I smoked them all before, just revisiting the high.